It's 9 p.m. at the Tietê bus terminal in São Paulo, and I'm about to spend the next 24 hours on a Brazilian night bus. No flight, no rental car, just me, a reclining seat, and 1,500 kilometers of highway ahead. Now, if you're watching this from outside Brazil, you might be thinking, why would anyone choose to take a bus for an entire day when flights exist? Well, here's the thing most travel guides won't tell you about Brazilian buses. Brazilian long-distance buses are not the cramped, sketchy rides you might be imagining. The leito and semi-leito classes are legitimately comfortable. We're talking seats that recline almost flat, air conditioning, onboard bathrooms, and sometimes even meals included in your ticket price. But here's what I really wanted to test. Is this a safe way for a foreign traveler to move around Brazil? And more importantly, is it actually a better experience than flying, or just a budget compromise you'll regret 12 hours in? So I bought a ticket, packed a small backpack, and decided to document the entire journey. The booking process, the terminal experience, the overnight ride, the roadside stops, the other passengers, and whether I'd actually recommend this to someone planning their first trip to Brazil. Let's start with booking. I used a platform called ClickBus, which is basically the go-to site for comparing bus companies and routes in Brazil. It's in Portuguese, but Google Translate handles it pretty well, and the interface is intuitive even if you can't read a word. Here's the thing, you'll see a huge range of prices for the same route. That's because Brazilian buses come in different classes. Conventional is the basic seat, semi-leito reclines partially, and leito is the full flatbed experience. For an overnight trip, leito is absolutely worth the extra 40 or 50 reais. I paid 220 reais. That's about $45 at current exchange rates. For context, that ticket includes transportation, a bed for the night, and breakfast. If you were flying and paying for a hostel in São Paulo, you'd easily spend 3 times that amount. One tip, book at least a day in advance if you're traveling on weekends or holidays. Leito seats sell out fast, especially on popular routes like São Paulo to Curitiba, Foz do Iguaçu, or the southern coast. I booked mine 3 days ahead and got my preferred departure time with no issues. All right, so it's departure day. I arrive at Tietê terminal about 40 minutes before my 9 p.m. bus. Tietê is massive. It's one of the largest bus terminals in Latin America, with hundreds of departures daily. The first thing that hits you is just how busy and modern it feels. There are food courts, convenience stores, pharmacies, even a Burger King and a Subway. If you arrive early, you can grab dinner, buy snacks for the road, or pick up any last-minute items. I grabbed a bottle of water and some Brazilian snacks, Bis chocolate wafers and a pack of Trident gum, just in case. Safety-wise, Tietê feels secure. There are police and security guards throughout, cameras everywhere, and the terminal is well lit. I didn't feel uncomfortable at any point. That said, keep your valuables close, don't flash expensive gear, and stay aware of your surroundings. Standard travel common sense. About 20 minutes before departure, I head to the platform. Brazilian buses board by platform number, which is shown on the electronic boards and printed on your ticket. My bus was on platform 32, lower level. I take the escalator down, find the gate, and there it is. The bus is nicer than I expected. It's a double-decker Marco Polo, which is one of the most common luxury bus brands in Brazil. Clean exterior, big windows, and the company logo, Catarinense, one of the reputable operators on the southern routes. First impression, this does not look like a budget option. Boarding is organized. The attendant checks your ticket, scans your ID or passport, and directs you to your seat. Leito passengers go upstairs, semi-leito and conventional stay on the lower deck. I climb the narrow staircase, and the difference is immediate. The upper deck is quiet, dimly lit, almost like a sleeper train. My seat is 204, window side. The seats are arranged 1-1, meaning one seat on each side of the aisle, no middle seat awkwardness. Each seat is basically a pod with armrests, footrest, reading light, USB charging port, and a small storage net. And yes, there's a seat belt. I stash my backpack in the overhead compartment. Not the luggage hold, I kept my bag with me because it has my camera, wallet, and passport. Larger bags go underneath the bus and you'll get a claim ticket for them. The attendant comes by offering a small amenity kit, pillow, thin blanket, and an eye mask. 9 p.m. The door closes and we roll out of tight air. The bus pulls onto the marginal tight air highway, and within minutes we're cruising south toward the coast. The engine is surprisingly quiet and the ride is smooth. Way smoother than I expected for a road trip through Brazil. About 30 minutes in, the attendant comes by with a snack service. For leito passengers, they offer a small sandwich, ham and cheese on a soft roll, plus a juice box and a cookie. It's simple, but honestly, it's more than I expected. Semi-leito passengers get snacks too, but I think the meal is slightly smaller. Now I'm going to be real with you. The sandwich isn't gourmet, but it's fresh, it's filling, and when you're on a night bus in the middle of nowhere, it hits the spot. I eat, recline my seat about halfway, and settle in. The cabin lights dim to a soft blue glow. Here's the thing about leito seats. They recline almost flat, maybe 160 degrees. You're not lying completely horizontal like a bed, but it's close. I'm 6 feet tall, and I fit comfortably with the leg rest extended. If you're shorter, you'll have even more room to stretch out. I plug my phone into the USB port, put in my earbuds, and try to sleep. The movement of the bus is gentle, more of a rocking than a jolt. The only sounds are the low hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of someone adjusting their blanket. It's honestly pretty peaceful. I drift in and out of sleep for the first few hours. Around midnight, the bus makes its first stop. A roadside rest area somewhere along the Régis-Bittencourt highway. The attendant announces a 20-minute break. Half the passengers stay asleep, the other half shuffle off to use the bathroom or grab coffee. I get off to stretch my legs. The air outside is cool and fresh. We're somewhere in the mountains between São Paulo and Paraná. The rest stop is small but clean. A little cafe selling coffee, pastries, and sandwiches. I grab an espresso for 8 reais and walk around for a few minutes. The bathrooms are pay-to-use, 2 reais, and they're cleaner than I expected. There's soap, paper towels, and everything works. This is pretty standard at Brazilian rest stops. You pay a small fee, but the facilities are maintained. Way better than risking the onboard bathroom if you can help it. I head back to the bus, settle into my seat, and within minutes we're rolling again. The cabin is quiet. A few people have reading lights on, but most are asleep or staring out the window. I pull the blanket up, close my eyes, and actually manage to fall asleep properly this time. I wake up around 4 a.m. when the bus slows down. We're pulling into the Curitiba terminal, a much smaller stop than São Paulo. A few passengers get off here, and a couple new ones board. The attendant walks through offering water and coffee to anyone awake. I take a bottle of water and drift back to sleep. When I wake up again, the sun is rising. I pull up the window shade and the view is stunning. We're driving along the coast now, the Atlantic Ocean on one side, green mountains on the other. The morning light is golden, and the water is this deep turquoise blue. This is why you take the bus. You don't get this view from a plane. We pass tiny beach towns, fishing boats in the harbor, surfers paddling out at dawn. The highway hugs the coastline, and for a solid hour, it's just ocean, cliffs, and endless blue sky. Around 7:30 a.m., the attendant comes through with breakfast. For leito passengers, it's a small box with a cheese roll, a banana, a yogurt cup, and orange juice. Again, nothing fancy, but it's included, and it's exactly what you need after waking up on a bus. I eat slowly, watching the coast roll by. Other passengers are waking up now, folding their blankets, checking their phones. The bus feels less like a vehicle and more like a moving hotel at this point. People are relaxed, chatting quietly, stretching in their seats. The vibe is surprisingly calm. By mid-morning, we make one more stop. A rest area just outside Joinville. Same setup as before, 20-minute break, coffee, bathrooms. I get off again, buy a bottle of Guaraná Antarctica, the iconic Brazilian soda, and take a few photos of the surrounding countryside. The final stretch is along the coast toward Florianópolis. The highway narrows, the traffic picks up, and you start seeing signs for beaches. Bombinhas, Balneário Camboriú, Iretma. The ocean is a constant presence now, sparkling in the late morning sun. we're close. Around 1 p.m., we cross the bridge onto Santa Catarina Island. Florianopolis is an island city, and the approach is beautiful. White sand beaches, modern high-rises, sailboats in the bay. The bus winds through the city streets, and at 1:40 p.m., we pull into the terminal. I step off the bus, grab my checked bag from the luggage hold. Everything is exactly as I packed it, no issues, and walk into the terminal. I feel surprisingly good. A little stiff, sure, but not exhausted. I slept maybe 6 or 7 hours total, which is honestly more than I expected. So, 16 hours and 40 minutes door to door. That sounds like a long time, and it is. But here's the thing. I saved money on a hotel, I saved money on a flight, and I got to see parts of Brazil I never would have seen otherwise. For me, that trade-off was absolutely worth it. Let's talk about what I loved about this experience. First, the comfort level. I was genuinely surprised by how well I slept. The leito seat is a huge upgrade over economy airplane seats and honestly comparable to domestic business class in terms of recline and legroom. Second, the scenery. That coastal drive in the morning, absolutely stunning. If you're the type of traveler who wants to see the country, not just hop from airport to airport, this is the way to do it. You get a real sense of Brazil's scale and diversity. Third, the cost. 220 reais got me transportation, a night's sleep, 2 meals, and an experience I'll remember way longer than any generic flight. If you're traveling Brazil on a budget, or if you just want to stretch your money further, buses are a no-brainer. Fourth, safety. I felt secure the entire time. The bus company was professional, the terminals were well-staffed, and my belongings were never at risk. I kept my valuables with me in my carry-on, and my checked bag was locked in the hold the whole trip. Zero issues. Now let's talk about what I didn't love. First, the onboard bathroom. It's tiny, it's basic, and by hour 10, it's not the cleanest. If you can hold out for rest stops, do it. The facility bathrooms are way better, and you'll thank yourself later. Second, the air conditioning. Brazilian buses love their AC. It gets cold, especially overnight. I was fine with the blanket provided, but if you run cold, bring a hoodie or an extra layer. Warm socks are a game changer, trust me on this one. Third, the time commitment. 16 hours is a long time to be on a bus. If you're on a tight schedule, or you just don't enjoy slow travel, flying is faster and might be worth the extra cost. But if you have the time and you want to experience Brazil at ground level, the bus is unbeatable. All right, let's answer the most common questions I get about Brazilian buses. First, is it safe for solo travelers? Yes, I felt completely secure traveling alone. The terminals are monitored, the buses are locked while driving, and the staff is professional. Second, can I book in English? Sort of. ClickBus is in Portuguese, but Google Translate works fine, and the booking process is straightforward. If you've ever booked a flight online, you can figure it out. Some larger companies like Busser are testing English interfaces. Third, do I need to speak Portuguese? Helpful, but not required. Most attendants speak basic English, and if not, Google Translate on your phone works wonders. The system is visual. Seat numbers, platform signs, departure times, so you can navigate pretty easily without fluency. Fourth, what about luggage limits? Most companies allow 1 checked bag up to 30 kilos and 1 carry-on. If you're traveling with a standard backpack or suitcase, you're fine. I had a 40-liter backpack as my checked bag and a small day pack as carry-on, no issues. Fifth, is leito worth the upgrade from semi-leito? For overnight trips, absolutely yes. The difference in comfort is huge. For daytime trips under 6 hours, semi-leito is probably fine and saves you some money. But for anything overnight, splurge on leito. Sixth, what should I bring on the bus? Essentials. Phone charger, earbuds, eye mask, water bottle, snacks you like. The provided meals are basic, so if you're picky, bring your own. A neck pillow is nice but not critical. And definitely bring a hoodie or jacket for the AC. Seventh, is it safe to sleep on the bus? Yes. The bus is locked while moving, and there's an attendant on board the entire trip. I slept soundly and never worried about my stuff. Just keep valuables in your carry-on under the seat or in the overhead, not in the checked luggage hold. 8th, are there outlets or USB ports? Most modern Leito buses have USB charging at each seat. Some older buses don't, so bring a fully charged power bank just in case. I plugged my phone in, and it charged overnight with no problem. 9th, can I bring food and drinks on the bus? Yes, absolutely. You can bring your own snacks, sandwiches, whatever you want. No alcohol, though. That's not allowed on Brazilian buses. But coffee, soda, water, snacks, all totally fine. 10th, what if I don't like it? Then you fly next time, and you're only out $45. But I genuinely think most travelers will be pleasantly surprised. If you go in with realistic expectations, it's a bus, not a 5-star hotel. You'll probably enjoy it more than you think. So here's my final take. If you're planning a trip to Brazil and you want to save money, see the country at ground level, and have an experience that feels authentically Brazilian, take the night bus. Book leito-class for overnight routes, bring layers and snacks, and embrace the journey. This is not for everyone. If you're short on time, if you need maximum comfort, or if you just prefer flying, that's totally valid. But if you're open to a slower pace, if you want to connect with the landscape, and if you're traveling on a budget, Brazilian buses are one of the best-kept secrets in South American travel. And honestly, I'll be taking more buses in Brazil. My next trips are Salvador to Recife and Rio to Parati. Both overnight, both Leito. I'm genuinely looking forward to them. That coastal sunrise alone made the entire experience worth it. If you want more details, like which bus companies I recommend, how to navigate specific terminals, or detailed route guides, let me know in the comments. I'm planning a whole series on Brazilian bus travel because I genuinely think this is something more foreign travelers should know about. And if you're actually planning a Brazil trip right now, check out my guide on Brazilian travel safety. It covers everything from taxis to atoms to what neighborhoods to stay in. Link in the description. That video pairs perfectly with this one. Alright, one more thing before we wrap up. If this video helped you decide whether bus travel in Brazil is right for you, if it answered questions you've been Googling and not finding good answers to, subscribing really does help us reach more travelers who need this kind of honest, practical info. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Safe travels, whether you're flying, driving, or taking that overnight Leito bus along the Brazilian coast. Brazil is waiting.